You're lucky I can't Zoom.
Okay, good morning. I want to thank you all.
Hi, welcome back, everybody.
Hi. Hi. I want to thank you all for being here. I know technology is the most exciting part of the trainings. So, there. It's the best, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're super excited about this. I'm Keegan Reed. We're not sure what I am. Admin Specialist 3 is my technical title role. I do data, marketing, recruitment, community partner development, and all of the above. So this morning we're going to talk about digital capacity. That is one of the biggest things. We went through a major shift last year, and so most of our pain points happened last year, which is great. Most of what we're doing this year is stuff we've already done. CASAS is going to be much easier than TABE. It's fantastic, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. Not everybody is getting TABE right at the beginning of August, but we'll be rolling it out throughout the year so that you will get to experience the wonderful part of our program that is CASAS. So the first thing I want to do is I want to plug a little event, since I'm also the marketing, recruitment, community partner development guy. Amarillo College has a program called Success 360, and these nights happen twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring, for students. And what happens on those evenings is Amarillo College students go to the Civic Center, and all of the different departments have giant booths. So we take up the North and South Exhibit Hall. Each department has a booth the size of this room. It's really cool. It's all interactive. Students can go into each booth, and they travel around in groups as high school students to get to see all of these different departments and divisions and all of the different programs that we have. And then at the end, they get to sit with an academic advisor and start the process of enrolling. The cool thing is that this year, now that we are in the third year of doing Success 360, we've kind of got our legs under us, as it were, to figure out how it runs. And so this year they're going to do an AEL Success 360 night, where our students will have the ability to go to the Civic Center that evening, and they will get to experience all of those different booths. It will be staffed just like it always is. Yes, sir.
Will we take all class?
So that's part of the discussion, but I believe yes, we will. So it'll be October 7th, 5:30 to 8 p.m. Night classes will take place here. All AEL students are invited to this. The ask that I have for you on this is we need about 15 volunteers to help us work this. So if you're teaching a night class, you'll already be there. So I've got you down as a volunteer. Thank you. That was easy. But I also need, so out of that, I think I'll still need another 10. So if you will be watching for an email from me, I will get you more information about what this takes. It's real easy. What we're going to do is we're going to break up all the students into groups. You'll basically have a flag with a color and an AC emblem on them, and your students will walk with you through the different departments.
And you get free dinner. They're providing Chick-fil-A.
It
is love.
Yeah. This morning they're not.
Oh.
I'm sorry. But they're giving a student a scholarship, so.
Yes, they are.
They're giving a student a scholarship. So what's up? Are you just excited?
Yeah, I was like, I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Woo, no question, but yeah. Yes, they are going to give a 1-year scholarship for the students, so it's a pretty big deal.
A random student that attends, okay?
Oh, like they're gonna like draw a name.
Yeah, they're gonna draw a name out of our AEL folks. So that's like cool, man.
Yeah. So we don't have to share with the high school kids the scholarships. We have one for ourselves. So be looking for an email for that. It's a great opportunity. It'll be a great opportunity just to get to engage with other people from the college as well. Okay, so we're going to just jump right in. And a lot of this will be review for many of you who have been here in the past. A lot of it will be great information for those of you who are new. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with AC Connect. So if you will, open Google Chrome on your laptop and go to this web address. What we're going to do is we're going to log into AC Connect. This is, if you can log into AC Connect, then you can log into all of our systems that you'll see this morning. And here. I'm going to do that with.
Was that one up there for me?
I guess.
Oh, it's in my work.
Yeah, get one that's
Did one report in like Matthew did and you have a plug right here.
Sorry, viewers.
Matthew, are there any more of those plugins?
There's one over at where?
But none of it. Because kind of shared it. I'll share it.
Sure.
I just thought it was like.
Okay. If you are not yet here, raise your hand. Okay. Take just another second.
Keegan, what's the password for the AEL student?
College?
It's college, capital C, and a 0 for the first
It
O.
should be right on your laptop.
Is it on there? Some of them don't have them, but okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about AC Connect. AC Connect is a really great place to find college employment resources. So if you are looking for, I'm just going to cover this real quick, pay stipends, information about your sick leave, all of those things, you can find that on the left side of the screen under Employees and under your employee profile. And it will give you, if you ever need, this is a cool one, if you want to look at how much sick leave you have, stipends, your check stubs, and your tax information is all there. That's one question I get fairly frequently. So you'll find that there, and then if we ever tell you that you need to fill out a college form, so as employees you might have employee scholarships for classes or things like that. The easiest way to find them is in this top left menu. You'll click that, you'll click faculty and staff, and then forms will be an option down there. And so when you click that, that'll take you to the website to fill out any college-based HR forms. So that's not really adult ed, but it will help. The most important part of AC Connect is the email. Everybody that works for Amarillo College has 2 different email addresses. You will have an email address that is, like mine, it'll be some address like keegan.reed@, and then it'll be actx.edu. That'll be your first one. That's your primary. So that is where all of our administrative emails will go. It's where all of the college-wide emails will go. The second one is the lesser known to some and is the one that's harder to find, and that is your Google Apps email. And the way you access that is here at the top center of this page. You'll see Exchange Email. If you want your actx.edu, you'll click Exchange Email. And then if you want your other one, which will be at amarillocollege.com, you'll click Google Apps Email and then click Google Apps. So go ahead and click Google Apps there. And it will load should load your Gmail. I finally got my inbox cleaned out. I had like 200 in there yesterday and realized it didn't want to show you all the stuff that was super old that I hadn't responded to, so I deleted it. Just kidding. So if you have access to this, you have access to all of the systems that AEL uses that we'll talk about this morning. So make sure that you're checking this email address. It's one that you can check on your phone, but you have to check through your web browser. Do I want to run it? Yes.
It's there, but it.
I think it is. Oh, on some of these laptops, so your.
This is how mine always is.
Is this how yours is always?
It's Gmail, it's always like that. Okay, go to the settings icon. Go to display well, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, but you have access. So you're good. Well,
I have access, I just don't, I can't like inbox and all that. I guess I could come over here.
You want to go into your Google. So go ahead and click this tab right here.
Okay.
And click this
And I
tab
don't
right
guess that
here.
really matters.
And I wouldn't expect
But I don't have every single.
Your T is. Your T is in the video.
Oh, do I have what you have?
Yeah, because I have it, see, yeah, he's got the same one I do, it's just added other folders to mine.
Okay, so I just have
Not
to go
yet.
over here. I need to
Yeah,
go
you're
to
good.
it, so I'll
Yours
just
is
like what's up.
Okay, and then go ahead and click that little square right there, just to expand that screen. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Great.
Final exams.
Yeah, it's there, but it doesn't matter unless I have to go over it.
Okay, all right, cool.
Everybody cool here? Are we good? Anybody having issues, problems?
Okay. So when we talk about your Google Drive email, there are a couple of different names that kind of float around. We'll say your @amarillocollege.com email, or your Google Drive email, or your docs, your attendance docs email. This is the one that we're talking about. So any system that we're using online that is Google driven, it's going to be this email address. And in the previous year, for your attendance docs, you would have received an email here that gave you your link for your docs, and then it can get buried, and so we've changed all of that, so you won't get your links here anymore. We have a central location, and so that's my next point, which is called the AEL Hub. And where'd it go? There it is. Okay. Okay, so the AEL Hub. So this is the next web address. I'd like for you to go ahead and go to this in your browser and write this one down, because this one you will use all year long, and you will refer back to it every time you need to access one of AEL's systems.
So go there now?
Go ahead and go there now. Yes,
Go
ma'am.
all the way out and then we can come back into this.
Yes, ma'am. And when you get to the hub, the first thing it'll do is ask you to log in. And it's going to be the same login that you used for AC Connect. It's the same login that you used for your Windows computers at work. Yes. Yes.
Never actually got to it. Okay. Awesome. When did you make that?
A couple months ago.
Oh.
Okay. Literally 5 minutes ago. Okay. So I'm going to open the hub. And log in. Okay, so on the hub, when you receive an email notifying you that your Google attendance sheets have been created, this is where you'll find them. So you won't get a link in your email anymore. You'll get a link here, and you'll see it broken out based on the class type. So there will be ESL classes, HSC, iBest, PASS classes. Those will all be listed here. And what you do is you just find the section that relates to your class and click on it, and then you will be able to find your attendance sheet in the list. So if that ever doesn't work, just email me and we'll fix it. But this is where you'll find those. So every time you want to access your attendance sheet, you can come to the hub and click the link here.
And we shouldn't have anything in there right now, right?
Right. I haven't created anything for the fall, so just the summer. And then at the bottom of this, we have two other sections. The first section is called New Students. We are in the process of updating this, so you'll do orientation training this afternoon, and as we make a couple of more decisions about orientation, we will get this updated so that it follows that list. So if you do have a student come in and you need some of those documents from orientation, this is a quick way to access it. And then our online systems are all found here. And we'll talk about several of those this morning. Google Drive is listed here. Colleague is listed here, which is the school student information system. The systems that Michelle was talking about this morning, GED Manager, Teams, CASAS, and TABE are here. So any of our systems that we use on a regular basis will be listed here. And this is a work in progress. So if there's a system that you use very frequently in relation to AEL, and several of you are using it, just let me know, and we will work those in here. It's not alphabetically ordered at the moment, which drives me kind of crazy, but it will be eventually. So you'll see all of that there, and we will send out regular updates. So when this does get updated, I will let you know in an email, just, hey, go check out a couple of things have changed in the hub. That way, if you are walking into class and need to jump into your attendance sheets, you won't be surprised if there's a change. I'll let you know ahead of time. So that's the hub. The first thing that we'll talk about is the doc upload. And the reason that we went to, and you don't have to go anywhere else because we're already in the hub, doc upload is just a way for us to manage all of the documents more efficiently. We still have to receive the paper documents. It's a TWC thing. We're going to keep those paper documents. They've said yes, you can scan them and keep them online, but we're going to keep paper for now. Just kind of cover us in case TWC changes their minds halfway through. So I'm going to walk through the process of document upload. So I will find that in my hub. Data management document upload is the very first one. And if you click that link, because you logged into that hub, you should already be logged into your Google email, but this is Google driven. So if not, you'll log into your Google email and it'll tell you at the beginning, it'll say, hey, you're not logged in, please log in now. You'll use that @amarillocollege.com email address. So what you'll do, right now we're using it for sign-in sheets and professional development. And as we find out if there are other documents we need regularly uploaded, we'll add them here. So you'll enter your colleague ID number. So, and your name. And then you'll just select your document type, and the prompts will change based on the type that you select. You'll have your, I'm gonna go ahead and do a sign-in sheet, and I'm gonna click next. And then these three things are gonna be super important. Your class number, this is how it gets filed in the back end for us. So your class number should be something like AEMA-0001-001. And then the date of the sign-in sheet. The easiest way to do that, if you're uploading it on the same day as your class, just use the calendar and click the day's date. Okay, and then on the file name, let's see if I can blow that up here. Okay. So if you have scanned your document, one of the reasons we moved to Doc Upload is those big Canon copiers that scan your documents for you. They're really great because you can just scan the document, hit send to myself. The problem with them is they name the file whatever they want to, and it's usually QE3964J. And when we get that, it doesn't really mean anything to us. And we are getting tons of these every day, not just sign-in sheets, but things throughout the program, administrative, education. And so we needed to find a different way to receive those documents so that we can more efficiently process those. So when you email from the Canon copier that document to yourself, save it to your desktop, and then rename your sign-in sheet. And this will always be listed here. And you'll just name it your class number, and then the date, and .pdf. So once you have changed that name, then you'll click the Add File button, and it'll ask you to select a file from your device, and then you can just browse for that file from wherever it is on your device. So we're gonna select pictures of my kids. Grant parameters. Okay. And then you'll click upload.
On the same sheet.
There it goes. And once you've uploaded your document, two things will happen. One is that we will receive an email that it has been filed online, and you will also receive an email in that Google email. I may not, because I'm an administrator, it won't email me twice. Let's see. Okay, there it is. And so you'll get a receipt that looks like this. The receipt shows us the information that you typed in and the actual name of the document. And so this is for your records. You don't have to send this to us. This is just confirmation that we received it from you. And so if there's ever any question, hey, I didn't get your sign-in sheets, you send me that receipt and I will shut this thing right here if it spoke too soon, and I'll go find it. So that's how we'll do the uploads. The professional development screen is almost exactly the same. It has instructions on how to name those. It just has a drop-down list of the type of professional development. So did you do AVID training? Are you uploading a transcript? Did you do CASAS training? So that's where you'll upload those.
We can't upload like 3 sign-in sheets. You have to redo the form for every sign-in sheet.
You do,
correct?
yes, ma'am. Yes. So if it If it's a multiple page for one single day, you can scan that as one document, but if it's for multiple days, they do need to be uploaded as multiple documents. I'd like to find a different way to do that, but it's kind of the way this one files for now. Yes, ma'am.
I'm in Boardroom, and in the library at Frank Phillips, they've got a scanner. Should I have them scan everything to my email address, Amarillo AC email address, and then
upload
that way,
it.
and then I can click on it and it goes to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do I, like a sign-in sheet?
I can talk to Patty Cash about that.
Sign-in sheets, who do they go to?
This upload will
This
send directly
upload.
to
Okay.
Eva and myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Write that down. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay, so on this document upload, I know this is a lot of information I'm throwing at you at one time. I will be emailing out detailed instructions as well. So it's kind of a see it once, and then I'll give you more instructions in a future email. The thing about this is because we were receiving too many email to process effectively, this is going to take the place of emailing documents. So if you do email us a document moving forward, we're probably going to shoot you an email back that says, hey, thanks for this, but I need you to go ahead and upload it, because then we're going to just delete it from our email side. For two reasons. One, you'll have the receipt and we'll have the receipt that we got it. And two, it'll already be filed, so we can go ahead and start processing the information on the document and not have to worry about actually processing the document itself. So it's going to help us be able to communicate with you more effectively as well. You have any questions so far? Yes, ma'am.
Clarification, so we're gonna do it 1 week at a time though, is that correct?
So yes, so, and we'll talk more about that when we get to the attendance sheets. But yes, this is review 1 week at a time.
But not all.
Yeah, it'll
At
have to,
once.
the days will have to be.
So you'll do it 4 times.
I see what you're
Clarify
saying.
that.
Yeah, so I may have misunderstood. When you do the upload, you will have to upload each day individually. Yeah, so you'll have to do that process 4 times if you teach 4 times.
Because we can't upload multiple.
Right, right. Because of the way it's filing that day automatically in the back end. And so if you were to upload the entire week, it would file that entire week as 1 day. So so that's why. And like I said, I will try and find a different way. That's not my favorite way to do it. I'll try and find a different way, but this is what we've got right this second. So it's not ideal, but it's better than where we were. Okay. So, Eva.
Anybody have any questions?
No, Matthew.
Will you have a name format that is up with instructions?
Yes,
Or
it is
how
listed.
we're going to manage that.
It's on there.
It's on there.
On the upload instructions.
For sign sheets and so that would putting all 4 at one time, that is kind of tedious. So maybe do it 1 day at a time. Like Monday, if you're done with Monday, you're going to be inputting those hours daily into the Google Doc anyway. Maybe just go ahead and upload it then. If that makes more sense to you to do it that way, do that. If you would rather wait until the end of the week to do 4 separate uploads, that's fine too. Just whatever makes more sense for you and works for you. Okay? We are aware that, again, doing the 4 separate uploads are tedious. But again, to stay consistent, that's what we gotta do. Questions, comments, revolts? Okay.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the attendance docs next. Eva, do you want to come up and start talking about that?
Eva!
attendance sheet. Well, Keegan showed you the new way that you're gonna be doing that thing that you got going for us. Just this first week, after intake, I need your sign-in sheets, like the day that you have class. When class is over, I need your sign-in sheets just so that we can get the sheets up and going, with your students' names. If that first week, we know that there's changes, students, change their mind about AM, PM, teacher A, teacher B, I don't know, they just changed their mind. And so, with that said, so the second week, we'll already have 2 sign-in sheets from you from the previous week. The second week, everything kind of students should be where they're supposed to be. And so if you have a student, we were going in last year saying a student that you have that is not on your sign-in sheet should not sign in on your sign-in sheet. And that still happened, but hopefully this year we can one more time say, if a student is not on your sign-in sheet, they should not sign in on your sign-in sheet. We need to know why you need to know why they're there. If they're making up time if they were supposed to be in AM and they didn't make it, so they came to your PM class, get a separate sign-in sheet, let them sign that, and notify that teacher that they came. And we'll put that time in that teacher's class that they belong in. But no more just signing in on random sign-in sheets. If you understood the psycho madness that makes the sign-in sheets, I promise it's ugly. So, like I said, for the first week, please turn your sign-in sheets in as quick as possible. Please double check your student signatures. When class is over, I have so many people that don't get hours because they don't have a signature by their name. And I can't give hours for that. That's against TWC rules, to give hours without a signature. So just glance over it, and if you have to keep your sign-in sheet, not the first week, but if you have to keep your sign-in sheet if you see that a student didn't sign it and they're gonna be there tomorrow, you'll see them the next day or next class, keep your sign-in sheet, let them sign it so they can get credit. Cause I won't give them credit if they don't have a signature by their name.
So the first week you want us to give them to you daily?
Please.
Do we,
Ensure that, I'm sorry?
do we give them to you through this?
Yes, ma'am.
AEL hub?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ensure that all students sign in. If you know, on your sign-in sheet, just maybe glance it after they're all sitting down. Glance over at your sign-in sheet and make sure that they all signed. Because so many times, again, no signatures, people. And then sometimes they'll have time in, time out, no signature. I'm like, how did that happen? But anyways, make sure you enter your time in your Google Doc daily. If you enter the time in the Google Doc, I can get that faster than I can get your sign-in sheets to double check them. Okay, I think that's my part. And if you have any changes in your classes, if you could let us know that as quick as possible. Because I don't know if you're letting Johnny Apple sign in on the sign-in sheet, and I've said nobody should be signing in if they're not on there. I don't know why they're signing in, and you're like, they're coming to my class, but I don't know that if you don't tell me. So let us know any changes as quick as possible, so that I can fix it in Teams and Keegan can fix it in the Google Doc. Okay, and any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Are the rural classes still, we just mail our papers in once a month?
If you could do that weekly, it would be better. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. If you could do that weekly. Okay. Okay. Well, good luck this year, and I'm glad that paperwork is at the top of the list on the. But thank you.
Since we're in Amarillo, moving to multiple campuses, we've had Community Link, but now we also have East and West. If you're teaching at Community Link, East or West, you can use intercampus mail to send the paper copies. If you've never used one or never seen one, on this table back over here are intercampus envelopes. And basically they ask for three things. They ask for who is it to, so write AEL, Eva, and who's it from, put your name and the date. That's what's on most of them. I think some of them ask for a building, but don't even worry about that. So if you're teaching at East, West, or Community Link, Hereford or Dumas, you can use those as well. And those are available at the Student Service Center at every location. So if you need additional envelopes, you can get them there. They're and Debbie, if you ever run out, if you just email Cassandra, she'll actually send you some in intercampus mail to community.
How often do you want the actual? But every day for the.
For the online, yeah.
So you're doubling up, you're doing online and paper.
We are.
I thought you were eliminating them.
I wish, not yet, that's the plan.
Okay.
TWC is kind of like, we'll see how it goes, and if you don't lose anything, then you can get rid of it.
Because I was like, that's kind of redundant.
Right,
Paper and.
it's not kinda, it's absolutely 200% redundant. Yes, ma'am.
Our AEL hub, you know, we send everything in. Is there still gonna be a daily attendance sheet emailed to us in Google where we put all of our attendance?
You'll access it through the hub, so I'll show you that in just a
Oh, through
moment.
the hub.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Mhm. Okay. So the digital, when we say digital is due daily, that's where you're hand typing those into your Google Doc online. The doc uploads are due by Friday at noon and the paper is due by Friday at noon. So whatever works best for your schedule, whatever you find is most efficient for you, works for us. And again, you can use intercampus mail for those. I'm gonna show you the attendance sheets. And hey, now that's not what I want okay.
Digital
Okay, so as we talk through this, the first page of this has not changed much. There are different codes that you can enter into your attendance sheets. So you'll have the top row is red, it's 0 for absent, or you'll enter a number. Yes, ma'am.
Also, when you go over at the bottom, because several people, last semester emailed, they didn't even realize that there were tabs at the bottom of the screen.
Yes.
That operate, so can you please?
Yes, I'll do that.
So how did you, I'm sorry, we didn't follow how you got to where you're at. Do we have that or is it just up?
You don't have this, so this one's just up here.
Oh, it's not
Can
on
we
the
show
hub
them how to
yet.
get to it from the home?
Yes.
Okay, so I back up like 30 seconds.
Okay. So in the hub, to access your attendance sheets,
Where all he did, and so everybody,
Right, yeah.
Cammie will have one, Devaney will have one, Carol will have one, and so you would just, oh hey, here we are, and I'm gonna click, boop boop, boop boop.
oh, boop, boop, no, not that boop.
Just kidding.
Don't wait, don't. Oh, boop, boop. Oh, there it is. So,
Okay, and then this pops up.
Okay.
So in the past, we emailed this, and with the 2 email addresses, it's kind of complicated. So this way, right, you have access. Now here's the coolest thing ever. Where's our contact info?
it's over here.
Check this out. What? Yeah, mic drop. Isn't that cool though? There's no, I mean, you have that. Literally, day one of class. You got all their cells, you got their emails. I don't know. I think that's the coolest thing ever. So, I mean, if you want to straight up be a stalker, straight up be a stalker. Stalk your students to success, okay? Seriously. Success is stalking. Not really. I'm not. I like the kid. I think I'm funny. I know I'm not. But really, you can import them into Remind on day one, and it's done.
Tell the police that Teresa said.
Eva, I know where your office is. We're talking to you now. But really, I'm not saying, okay, but like hold them accountable. Send out a quick text. Hey, Alfred,
The names in for us.
all of this will be populated already. All this will already be here. The only thing you're gonna do, let's go to Albert.
I want to kind of say it.
Okay, Keegan wants to talk. He created it so he can say whatever he wants to say.
I have a disclaimer. So we have changed some of the layouts, and so I want to refer back to something that Michelle said this morning and yesterday morning. Yesterday she said we're a cost allocation grant, so we get paid when students get hours, which is why it's so important for you to check to make sure that they even just sign out. Oftentimes we'll see they'll sign in, they'll have an in and out time, but they won't sign out. And then we don't get those hours and we don't get those dollars, and those are the dollars that pay for everything from paper to salaries. So that's why it's so important. And then what Michelle talked about today, as I move into the attendance sheet, is the idea of continuous improvement. That there are measures that are in place that help us communicate bilaterally. And it's not from a punitive standpoint, it is one that we've not ever communicated well. So in the attendance sheets, you'll see a couple of changes. And just a side note, if you've never noticed this, there is this we call it a hamburger menu. There's a little hamburger menu in the bottom left corner. It shows you all of the tabs for your document, so you don't have to scroll through these tabs at the bottom. So it'd say, whoop, let's not add one.
But you wouldn't have access to add one.
That's right.
Because it's all protected. So don't get nervous because Keegan has came in and like the only spot you can touch is this gray here. Oh, can't touch that. Can't touch that. Can't touch this. Can't touch that. Can't touch that. Can't add any more tabs. And we do that out of love. Because I don't know about y'all, but I don't like to jack for things that I'm not like very certain on. So this literally, can I go in? Oops.
We can add the date.
Almost a disaster. Can we go in and add a date? No.
Oh, we can do that?
Nope.
You can
No.
Just
That's the only thing they
kidding.
can do. They can
Pop
add dates.
quiz. You can add dates. Sorry. I should know what I'm talking about before I get
You shouldn't need to though.
But you shouldn't need to, because if you're a Monday, Wednesday class, they already did the math for you. So it's just gonna be 11 and 13, not 11, 12, 13, like the 11, because it's just Monday, Wednesday, every other day. Now, if it's a Monday through Thursday class, it'll have those dates up there, like that. This was a Monday, Wednesday. I can tell just by looking at it, right? So that will already be calculated for you. But hey, Keegan likes to occasionally make the occasional mistake. So if he messed up, put in a date.
Yeah, I've been known to do that, and so we just, and I literally I was on the phone with Michelle last night, so that changed last night. So you'll see some things that are different. Starting from the left, their percent target hour attainment. We've always calculated this number, but we've never really used it or really looked at it. Before, it would just turn red if they had attendance that was less than 80%. And so this is one of the measures that are now in place, and you'll see that when I show you the master attendance sheet. This calculates the number of hours that a student has received in your class out of the total number of hours possible. So if a student comes to all of the classes and they come to their full number of hours, because we're moving to an hour and 15, then they get 100% over there. they come to 40 minutes of every class, they'll get a 50% over there. So you'll begin to see that. The colors correspond to, I'll put that in the instruction sheet. Green is everything greater than 80%. Yellow is everything from 60 to 80%. Red is everything less than 60%. And the other reason that we're using this is for the career navigators. As they are working through which students will move into those career pathways, they're looking for students that are a minimum of 80% attendance rate or higher. So they're going to be coming into your sheets and looking at those to find out which students, one, need support, red and yellow, and which ones are in green that are ready to move on and are good candidates for that program. Along the top, as you saw the flow chart yesterday, organizational chart, we have lead instructors. What I found real quickly when I began helping Eva with data was I looked at the amount of communication she was receiving, and Michelle and Teresa had identified that before me. I was just kind of new coming into it, and I couldn't believe the number of emails and messages she was receiving to get things done. And so she, everybody else answers to a supervisor, and a supervisor might have 10 or fewer people that they're managing. Eva was communicating with 60 or 70 people and receiving all those requests. So with the lead instructors, we're adding a layer of separation. So you'll communicate with your lead instructor for some of these things. And what the lead instructors will do when you do your document upload, they will go in and they will find the sheets for your class, and they will verify your hours before they notify Eva, and Eva verifies the hours. One thing that we didn't have last year was a lot of double checks and accountability in our systems, and we identified that not having double checks really hurt us when the audit came. And so we needed to be able to have a different way to double check. So the lead instructor, what they will do, this is all fake data, by the way, so we're going to pick on Matthew Snyder. In Matthew Snyder's class, he'll go in and he'll enter the hours for that particular day, and then he'll upload his paper sign-in sheet to Google Drive. And the lead instructor will go in and verify the hours for that day. So here in this column, the teachers put in Matthew's put in all of these hours, and the lead instructor verified those hours and found that there were 5 hours that were not correct. They didn't match the sign-in sheets. There were 5 discrepancies. So at that point, the lead instructor will just shoot you an email and say, hey, I found a couple of discrepancies. Will you go in and look at your sheet and figure out what the discrepancies are? Either somebody didn't sign in or you didn't put times in and times out. That way, we can guarantee that our students are getting the hours so that we're getting the dollars. So from there, you'll go in, you'll have that opportunity, fix those discrepancies. The lead instructor will verify again and then notify Eva that it's ready for data verification. From there, because of that process, that will help us upload automatically into Teams. So that's what the numbers are at the top in the lead verified and the data verified. It's just the number of discrepancies. And one thing that we haven't been good about communicating with you in the past is whether or not you had discrepancies. And so then if 6 weeks down the road, we come back and say, well, it just seems like there's always something wrong with your sheet, right? Or there's something wrong with this. If you don't know, that's not a fair comment for us to make. And that's not a positive way for us to engage. So we want to be able to have a communication tool that just says, hey, we're all human. There are a couple of things that need to be fixed. If you'll check those, that would be fantastic. That's really all that is. So that legend that you saw in the instruction sheet, you can put any of those into any of these cells, and these cells will talk back to you. Now, if you put in something that doesn't match, it'll say, hey, check the instruction sheet and find something that matches the instruction sheet. Do you have any questions about this particular page?
This is the page that we upload.
This is the page where when you look at your paper sign-in sheet, you'll type in the number of hours from each student. And then the paper sign-in sheet. The paper is what you'll upload. Yes, ma'am.
So if somebody withdraws, do we email you and tell them to take them off there?
If somebody withdraws, there is a drop option in the instructions. So you'll email Eva and myself, let us know, hey, this person is dropping or withdrawing, so that we can drop and withdraw them from colleague, the student system, college system, and then you can begin just using that drop code in there. Because what happens is, if they didn't show up the entire semester, or the entire cohort, we'll go ahead and drop them for you. You won't have to worry about that. It's the ones that if they show up like this one, who showed up until the 24th of June and then just stopped coming, if these were all drops, we have to leave this just because they attained some hours in your class. But you'll just use that drop code instead of an absence code. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you said that pretty quick, but we don't upload these documents, you already have these, right?
As soon as
So
you...
we just need to upload the signed ones.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And if you ever have any questions about these are live. And so as you're looking at it, we can look at the same thing and we can make changes together. So we can see what you're seeing and we can see, like if you say, hey, this is what I do and it doesn't act correctly, give me a call. I'll watch what happens and then we'll get it fixed.
Last question. What's the HEG?
The, where?
Purple, dark green, light green, HEG.
H is holiday.
Okay.
Oh.
Excused.
Sorry, I'm looking at what you're cooking. I was looking for in the box. Yeah, H is holiday. G is they've received a portion of their GED that allows them to stop coming to this particular class. E is an excused absence. We use those very sparingly, and then the red is just the zeros where they didn't attain hours. Yes, ma'am.
Do we use excused absence if they have let us know ahead of time they have a doctor's appointment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's we're really looking to spur more communication. So that's what the excused absence is for. It's like if you're in communication with some of these students, we had some yeah, they'll say, hey, we had one, I think it was in Matthew's class, he wasn't able to attend for 2 or 3 weeks. And then at the end of that, he was able to come back and catch up on his coursework. He was very dedicated. So he has a bunch of E's because we excused it because it was work forced him. Said, hey, we can't. And it was, that's a one-off. That's not our standard policy. But based on the student and the commitment level, you have that flexibility.
So who do we have to ask if it's okay? I mean, if a mother in Mexico is dying and she needs to go be with her for a week.
Lead instructor?
Lead instructor. I say let them ask them, and if it's that big of a problem, maybe on to.
Having a conversation with your lead instructor or with Ronetta to just, hey, I got this from a student. I just this is how I'm feeling, right? Basically, are they selling you a bill of goods? You know what I mean? Are they really doing that? Okay, cool. I mean, I get that. Students have to do things, right? The example with Matthew's student, he had worked with him, and he had access also to the online, stuff, right, to do work while he's gone, okay? So when he came back, that was fine, right? He kept up with his studies, that sort of stuff, right? But if, Susie just drops off the face of the planet for 3 weeks and then just rolls up, hey, guess what, I'm back. Hey, we didn't have a conversation. You're no longer in my class, But where do we preface that at? In orientation, in the first day of class, right? Is that attendance equals success? You can't be absent more than 3 days, a hard and fast? No, right? We know our students have lives and there's exceptions. And if they're open with you for communication, that's fine, right? But if the communication isn't there, if you're not aware of what's going on, there's really nothing we can do, right? So let them know up front.
Let me interject. That doesn't mean that they get to go every semester and go home and see mom just because they miss them. I mean, there has to be dedication to class as well. I mean, sometimes there's life experiences and situations that happen where they need to go, but if it's just for vacationing, we need to keep that in consideration.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, questions, comments? No? We're good?
The next tab at the bottom is the attendance notes. And so in here, the same color scheme will be copied from the attendance sheet automatically. And so these don't line up because I had to move the data around to make fake data. But as you can see, like Josh was absent here. So Matthew called him and said, hey, why are you absent? This allows office staff to also know what's going on with the students. It also allows their career navigators to know what's going on. So any notes that you make here are live for the career navigators and for administrative staff to see. Your paper sign-in sheets can be printed from these two tabs at the bottom called sign-in sheet P1 and P2. If you have more than 30 students, they'll flow over onto page 2. You'll print the second page from there. All you'll have to do if you print these is put a date on it and sign it after you've printed it.
Do we create that?
No, this is automatically done for you. All you have to do is print.
Our sign-in sheet is gonna be created for us.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will always try and do as much work as possible for you.
So Keegan, what if, go back to the sign sheet. So John Smith should be on here. He's not on here. I'm just gonna have him write in his name, okay? What?
She said not to do that.
Gee whiz! But he's in my class. This man needs to get credit. So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna let him write his name in? No, we're gonna email them and let them know. Right? Okay, thank you.
And then there's the student contact information. The only drawback in transparency for this student contact information is that this comes from the Pearl, their application for admission into our program, and we receive that information once. So if they change their information and they don't inform our data management staff, this won't change. So this will be, when you get this on the first day of class, this is exactly what we received when they came into the program. And if it needs to be updated, let us know and we'll get it updated.
I mean, in kind of rule of thumb, if you call the number and it's disconnected, when they come to class again, you need to kind of ask.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to fill out the attendance notes if you have no way to contact them.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So if they enroll that day, do they sign in on the sign-in sheet?
So there are always going to be exceptions like that.
Because we usually have 2 or 3 CNA students that show up the day of because they don't get funding until. So the first day they can sign the sign-in sheet, but we still need to email you guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There are going to be moments where somebody's going to have to sign in with a handwritten signature. Those are few and far between, we hope. But email Eva and I first, and then we'll shoot you an acknowledgement that says, yes, go ahead and do that. Okay. I just want to show you the class statistics tab. It really, just so that you know what it is, it's really just there so that I have a place to store formulas. It's kind of running the whole rest of the sheet, so this isn't something that you'll have to look at much. It just happens to be there. And then testing history. I didn't finish filling that out. That's fine. So there are 3 pieces of information that you will complete here. You will do their midterm grade. Once those are graded, their final grade. This one, while grades are super important for Colin Witherspoon in institutional research, which is great, this third column is the most important one for data management at the end of a class. In order to do seat allocation for classes for the next cohort, which is usually just 4 or 5 business days after the last class finishes, we need to know who is moving up from your class to the next level, who dropped from your class, who just quit coming, or who has already said, I'm not going to come next 8 weeks, and then the students that you will retain because either you feel like they didn't get a final grade that moves them up, or you just say, hey, let's just stay in this class a little bit longer and then we'll move up. This is where we will figure out who's going to be on your sign-in sheets for the next 8 weeks so that we can get all of those to you hopefully on the first or second day of class. So that's I'm speaking it into the universe. It's kind of a hidden thing we talk about in our offices. The goal is to have sign-in sheets to you by the second day of class. But what I'm saying is that's our goal. If all of this works well, so there's 2 parts. We need to know who's moving around so that we can do that.
So dropped the class and dropping from college are the same thing?
It can be, yes.
For
Yes,
now.
yes. So that's what the testing history is. The score table tab, I will be updating to include CASAs. There's a really cool graphic that I will show you in a little bit. It shows how students in ESL, English Language Learners, and GED students compare on the NRS scale scores. So you'll be able to see that in here as well. So if you can see what their NRS level is in ESL, you can see what their corresponding class would be in the GED program. Score table. And then the data tab, this is just another one of those tabs that is just driving the sheet. It's what's pulling in all of the information and calculating all of those pretty colors on the others. Do you have any questions about that? I will show you the master attendance sheet that the administrative, can't talk, almost done here. Administrative staff is looking at. The first tab is the dashboard, and some of you may remember seeing the speedometers. This is average daily attendance, and so this usually just starts on green and kind of goes down from there. This is just representative of the number of students that you have retained in your class throughout your 8 weeks. The new one that administrative staff will be seeing, that I worked with Michelle last night on this, is the student percent attendance. Career navigators will be looking at this quite a bit. What this shows you is each set is for one of the classes in this sheet, and these are those green, yellow, and red that I was showing you on your attendance sheet. So the students in green are students who have 80% attendance, yellow is 60 to 80%, and red is everything less than 60%. So what we'll be able to do is come in and look and see, okay, so like in this class, the majority of people are showing up less than 80% of the time. Is it a logistics issue because we've put them in a different campus? Is it whatever the issue may be? Is it just a hard class, or is it whatever it is? So that's where we have those. And then, like I said, that's a live document. So if you call, so like Matthew, here's Matthew's, all of his class information. We'll just pull up his class information and be able to see what you see. So this is a live view. The notes will feed into here as well. So this is just kind of what we see on the back end. You won't ever have to worry about it. I just wanted you to be aware that that's how it all feeds into us, is we have one big document that connects to all of your individual sheets. Okay. We have 20 minutes for this next PowerPoint, and I'm going to burn through it. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to talk about CASAs. I'm going to send out a lot more information. We just got our access to CASAs last week. So you haven't seen a lot about CASAs other than, hey, there are some trainings that you need to complete. Those trainings should be complete by Friday of this week. And once you've completed that, then I will send out further information on how to access CASAs. You'll be hearing 2 different terms. You'll be hearing e-tests and TOPS Pro. E-tests is more what it sounds. That's the online testing. So ESL and HSE and our PASS, which is the old DevEd, they will all be taking CASAS online. The online tests will be administered in a couple of locations, and then so we don't go through the same pain we did with TABE, where we threw it all out there and it broke everywhere. We're gonna just kind of roll this out to different locations as we see that it works. So that's what eTest is. TOPS Pro is the administrative side. TOPS Pro is what gives you all of your reports. The bad thing about TABE was how many of you ever even looked at the reports in TABE? Right, like 4 or 5 of us. It was awful because you couldn't go and pull up all of your students for your class. You couldn't, you had to go in one at a time and it took 2 or 3 minutes. It was miserable, absolutely miserable. TOPS Pro is the administrative software. You'll all have access to it. I will send out instructions on how to get that. And you'll put that on your teacher lectern or wherever your main computer is. That's not something that you'll put on the students' computers. And the installation process is super easy. We did a whole room in about 15 minutes. So for TOPS Pro, you'll get your reports, and I'll talk more about that in the coming weeks on how to get those. So I'm gonna just very quickly show you what a student would see. So we're gonna do just a couple of questions in the life and work reading test. Everything is very simple, easy to read. So they'll be prompted. You're going to do your sample questions, and so these are some of the sample questions. What does this sign mean? It means don't go in. I got that correct. Sweating it. Okay, so that was the sample question. They will receive the correct or incorrect only on the sample questions. So once they move into the test, something I learned with Renetta is for English language learners, for the listening test. It gives them an option at the very beginning to set their volume. After that, once they move in to the test, it will not allow them to adjust the volume after that. So when I didn't have headphones in my office, everybody in the suite could hear it because I had the volume turned all the way up. And the dude just keeps talking. He doesn't stop. He doesn't care. So that's just something to be aware of when you administer these tests. They will have headphones, but if they set the volume all the way up to the highest, it's going to be very uncomfortable for the duration of those 75 minutes. So basically they'll just answer a question, they'll hit next. That's it for the interface that the students will see. It's very easy. I'm going to answer all 5 of these. And when Renetta and I, we did 25 questions, we just guessed on all of them, we got like an 80%. So
we didn't read anything.
We felt really good about ourselves. Okay, and one more. Okay, so once the test is complete, any of the ones that they did not answer will not have check marks here. So they'll be able to click on that, go back, and change it. On the actual test, they'll have an option to flag it. So I'm going to go back to our review. I'm going to end the test. Now what differs between this sample test and the actual test is it will take about 30 seconds for the end screen to load. And once it loads, different from TABE, this will give them their results immediately with the option to print. So as a TWC guideline, we are required to provide them with their results. So that meets the TWC guideline to provide them with their results and the opportunity to print. We do still have to interpret their results. So we will do that during orientation, but to meet the guideline for the paper, you don't have to print the paper if you don't want to.
Yeah, we're not allowed to print for students, are we? On the Canon copiers.
Very sparingly. So if it's like, I really want my classes scored, right? But
Can they
that's
take a
about it.
screenshot of that? Is that
You
a
can,
Google?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take screenshots of that as well. You can print to in Google Chrome. If you're using Google Chrome, you can print to a PDF, and you can email it that way. So that's what the sample test looks like. And I'm gonna just go through this one. So a couple of things, if you're new, this will be helpful. If you have been here previously, there's something that'll be real confusing if I don't explain it right now, because I spent 3 weeks trying to figure it out. A locator. So we all who have given a tape know what a locator is. They take the locator, it figures out what difficulty level, and then it puts them in that difficulty level. In CASAS, the locator is the paper version. The appraisal is the exact same thing. That's just what they call their online test. Why they couldn't call it just a locator? Because that's what everybody else in the world calls it. So when you look at your reports and when you see documentation, locator and appraisal are interchangeable. Absolutely interchangeable. And the way that the CASAS works, like I said, they will, when they log in to take their test online, it will present them with the, I'm going to use the appraisal word. It'll present them with the appraisal, and the appraisal is 20 questions. The very first question is the easiest question. The very last question is the hardest question. And it will just move them through all of those questions, which are based on the scale, the CASAS scale. So based on how they answer those questions, it will determine what difficulty level their pre-test should be in. So we use the terms pre-test and post-test. A pre-test happens at the beginning of the 8-week class period to assess their current academic knowledge. And then the post-test happens between weeks 4 and 7, somewhere there, depending on what our scheduling will be. And that tells us whether or not they made an academic gain, and an academic gain is one of our targets to receive money from the state. So that's how TWC tracks whether or not we are being effective with our time with the students.
Is that after 50 hours of class time?
It's we're going to be closer to 40 hours this year with testing. So one thing that we'll be doing kind of on the administrative side, CASAS differs in tape. Tape says if you get 40 hours, go ahead and take a post-test. You're good to go. CASAS says you need to have 70 to 100 hours of instruction before you take a post-test. And we don't have that kind of time in an 8-week class. So what we'll be doing on the administrative side is when those students are hitting those 40 hours, we'll be doing exemptions for the students to take the CASAS.
So the CASAS test is actually the TABE online.
It is, yes, this is
It
weird.
automatically goes into
Yes.
CASAS.
And your site will continue using TABE.
Lana and Carol, y'all are gonna keep doing tape, so. Okay.
We will get it rolled out to you eventually. Okay.
Yes.
So those are the 3 terms you need to know. Appraisal locator is all one word. Pre-test and post-test. If you call us, we're in the habit of saying locator. We're trying to move to appraisal, but give us some grace if you don't mind on that. The other things you'll be hearing for HSC instructors, you're used to just hearing reading, language, and math for tape tests, and 11 and 12. So the type of test is reading, language, math. The modality or the alternate test form is 11-12. So that's why we called it TABE 11-12. In CASAS, it's not that way. We have 2 tests, reading and math goals, and they're both 900 series. So when you call us and say, hey, does somebody need to take a reading or a language test, we're going to just say, it's just the reading test moving forward. I have said that several times this week. And then for English language learners, you'll have the life and work reading, which is the 80 series, and life and work listening, which is the 980. Like I said, let them know about the volume, because that was real fun. I'm going to skip to this screen. This gives you the approximate timing to take this test. It takes between 2.5 to 3 hours. I love this one. This is backwards from what all of their other online stuff says. This one says the locator is e-test only and appraisal is paper. So they couldn't even get it straight. The locator is 15 minutes. They have a total of 15 minutes. They can spend less time on that. And then for ABE, HSE classes, depending on the level, A and B levels are 60 minutes, C and D levels are 75 minutes. With the TABE, it was one time for each different type of test, but now it's based on level. ESL is the same way. So their life and work reading is 60 minutes. The life and work listening is anywhere from 49 to 52 minutes. And the reason on that one, that test gives more time based on whether or not they want to listen to the person say the prompt a second time. There are only certain questions that will allow them to do that, but when they do choose to listen to it a second time, it won't let them move forward, it won't let them pause it, it won't let them do anything on the computer until he's done speaking. And so that's why they give that approximate time, because it pauses their timer while he's speaking.
Okay, before we move on, just for your purposes, I would take a picture of this. So when you're testing, when you're doing orientation, when you're doing whatever, I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, but just so that you know how long for your student, because your students are going to ask you, like when it's time for them to go in and post test, well, miss, how long am I going to be in there? Yeah, 6 hours. I mean, not really. No, here you have a real thing to give them, okay? Like if they're post testing, I said progress testing, post testing in math, I mean, a little over an hour. You know, that'd be a fair statement for them to say. Okay, our enrollment specialist too, so when you're timing folks, you know how long you need to, be with them. Okay.
And for those of you that will be iBest instructors in other classrooms with the academic students, in those classes, those students will only need to, most times, only need to take one or the other. So you can easily say it'll be 90 minutes for math or reading, or so they don't have to take the full 3 hours for that. Locators and appraisals, same thing. So this is where I was talking about all of the questions happen on a scale from 180 to 250, and those 20 questions will just get harder, and if they miss, I think it's 3 questions in a row, then it will stop the test, and it will just go ahead and assess which level they need to be in. For the appraisal on the computer-based, it's the 102 and the 89L. Takes 10 to 15 minutes. It walks them through the entire process. For paper, no one cares because we don't even have paper copies of the tape or the CASAs, either one. And then again, no one cares about the paper here. For AB and HSE, it'll be 104 R and M. So you'll begin to see that more and more frequently. One thing I want to touch on, one thing that we were hoping to get away from and we didn't, it just looks different, is in TABE we had the plus and minus scores, and then we had the NAs and ORs. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. I'll talk about it right now. In CASAS, the way they do their scale scores, the first couple of questions, depending on the test, are what we consider out of range. So if they don't obtain, like this is the reading HSE test, if they don't get at least 7 questions right, they don't receive a score in this test, and they need to immediately redo the appraisal and retest in this. Or not appraisal, they need to immediately retest in a lower level. So you can let an enrollment specialist know, hey, I have a student that needs to retest. There are no minus scores, so we don't have to worry about that, but down at the bottom there are diamond scores, because we're fancy, and those diamond scores mean that they have answered as many questions as possible to receive the highest scale score for that test. So when they retest, they have to test in the test that's one difficulty level higher. And I'm telling you all that because it's good information, but the beauty of CASAS is that it will, the moment they finish taking their pretest, so Melinda here took her pretest, she got a scale score of 194 and 220. It immediately figured out these are the next tests that she needs to take. So the very next time she signs into CASAS to take a test for her post-test, it's already pre-configured. So in 4 to 7 weeks, when she sits down for her post-test, there's not anything else we have to do other than start the session for the computer lab and say, sign in. And she's already set up and ready to go. It has already figured that out for us.
So for ESL, y'all had to pull books, do all that lovely stuff. You don't have to do it no more. Yay! I'm glad you're excited.
And for enrollment specialists who spent 3 weeks figuring out progress tests, you don't have to do that anymore.
We don't gotta do that anymore.
I'm gonna jump back.
Keegan,
Yes, ma'am.
so, on like when she would take the next time,
Mhm.
so like when she logs in, it's gonna automatically have, like, you guys don't have to do anything, like it just automatically
Right.
comes all the tests that she needs.
Right. Yeah, we don't have to do anything, and it will follow the student through the entire year. So when they take that first pretest, if they come in August and they run all the way through May, they take that pretest in August, which we had to configure, but we don't have to do anything else for them for the rest of the year as far as administrative getting their tests set up. Once they hit a gain, they won't have to take a test anymore, but it will follow them. I want to show you in the next 5 minutes 2 reports that are super cool. Their individual skills profile. This is the same report that you would have seen like with TABE to give the students their reports. It has their NRS levels. That's what we use most in the program. NRS level 4 and 5 there. For HSE instructors, this is a really cool box. It says Erica Kim has a likelihood of 79% of passing the reasoning through language arts GED test, and then the mathematical reasoning, more study is needed.
Okay, hold on. Alright, so for TABE, right? It was based. Do what?
You got none, I mean, you got none
No,
of
yeah,
that.
right? The last time we had anything that compared to GED, okay, was TABE 910, and it was based on the 2013 and before. This is what they're taking. So like 79%, yeah, go take a ready test, man. Get out of here. Move on. I think that's way cool. So. Okay.
And from what we've heard from CASAS, that's the indicators are pretty accurate. So on tape, a drawback was when they received this report, they received something similar where it just said, they're not great in number sense, or they're not great in measurement, but it stopped there. It didn't really tell you, it didn't give you a true diagnostic. This will. So now it will tell you exactly, like this was an English language learner. They had an issue interpreting highway signs. This one had a difficulty in demonstrating an ability to meet customer needs. So you really do receive a lot of targeted information about that student's test scores. And as a teacher, you can come in here and you can run the performance for the aggregated performance for your class. So you can see what areas the class as a whole is struggling in. So you'll be able to pull that, and that, check my other one real quick. That's it.
Did it.
Good job.
Right on time.
Yeah, 1 minute.
How about that?
Okay, we got a sign-in sheet. Sign out again. We'll see you back at 1:30. Is that okay?